The night was quiet, too quiet. High above Earth, beyond the reach of human eyes, a shadow moved across the stars. It was not a meteor. It was not a satellite. It was something else, something that didn't belong. The first to notice were the machines. A weather satellite over Europe blinked out, its signal cut mid-transmission. A second satellite in low orbit failed minutes later. By dawn, 10 satellites were gone, their signals erased as if they had never existed. Engineers stared at their screens in shock. Satellites do not just disappear. They do not vanish without debris or warning. Something was shutting them down, something far smarter than human technology. At first, governments tried to keep it quiet. The world had enough problems already. Wars, climate disasters, economic struggles. Nobody wanted mass panic. But soon, even ordinary people began to see it. On a cold winter night, families in northern Europe looked up and gasped. The stars above flickered, like someone had drawn a giant hand across the sky. Constellations vanished, swallowed by a vast, moving shadow. People thought it was a cloud. But clouds do not block starlight with such sharp edges. Clouds do not hum with a low, vibrating sound that rattled windows and made dogs bark in terror. News spread fast. Videos filled the internet. A black shape crossing the heavens, too large, too precise, too silent to be anything natural. By the third day, every government on Earth knew the truth. This was not human. It was not Russian, not American, not Chinese. No nation had built something this big. No nation had built something that could hide in space like this. The object was a ship so massive that it dwarfed the largest aircraft carriers, so silent that it slipped past every defense system like a ghost. And yet, it did not attack. The ship only watched. It circled the Earth slowly, casting shadows across continents, blocking out the stars wherever it drifted. It made no sound, no message, no threat. Its presence alone was enough to paralyze the world with fear. Inside secret bunkers, leaders argued. Should they fire missiles? Should they stay quiet? Was it safer to show strength or to hide weakness? Military generals gave orders to test their weapons. A missile was launched from the Pacific. It soared toward the black shape, engines blazing. But when it neared the shadow, the missile simply vanished, swallowed whole. No explosion, no flash. Just gone. Panic spread through the control room. The world had just seen its strongest weapons mean nothing. That night, the ship released its first sign of life. Across every television screen, every phone, every radio, the signal appeared. Static at first, then a voice. Calm, cold, mechanical. You are not ready. Yet. The message repeated in every language at once. English, Chinese, Arabic, Urdu, Swahili, every human tongue. Then silence. For hours, people argued online. Some said it was a hoax. Others said it was the end of days. Religious groups called it a sign from God. Conspiracy theorists claimed it was government trickery. But the truth was undeniable. The stars themselves had been blocked. The ship was real. And the ship was waiting. In a small apartment in New York, a scientist sat trembling as he replayed the signal. The words burned in his mind. You are not ready. Yet. He asked himself the same question every leader was asking. Ready for what? Across the ocean, in Moscow, generals demanded answers. In Beijing, secret meetings stretched into the night. In Washington, the president stared at satellite images of the enormous shadow and whispered, Why are they here? But the ship gave no answer. Days passed. Weeks. The shadow never left. It hung above Earth like a watchful predator, circling, studying, scanning. Strange energy bursts were detected from its surface. Invisible waves passed through cities, through oceans, through mountains. Humans could not feel it, but machines recorded the scans. Every detail of Earth was being studied, every structure, every weapon, every heartbeat. The watchers knew everything, and yet they stayed silent. It was not invasion. It was not friendship. It was something else, something worse. Humanity was not being attacked. Humanity was being measured. At first, ordinary people tried to go on with their lives. Schools opened. Shops stayed busy. But the feeling of being watched never left. Every glance of the night sky was a reminder. They are still there. Farmers in Brazil prayed to the stars. Pilots in India refused to fly. Children in Japan asked their parents, "Do the aliens like us?" No one had an answer. Then, after a month of silence, the ship spoke again. The world froze as every screen lit up. The same calm, cold voice echoed once more. "You are not ready. Yet. Prepare." And then 7 points of light fell from the sky like shooting stars. They landed across the world, one in the deserts of Africa, one in the frozen tundra of Siberia, one in the Amazon jungle, one in Europe, one in Asia, one in the Pacific Ocean, and one in the heart of North America. When the smoke cleared, people saw them. Strange towers, tall, smooth, glowing faintly as if alive. No one had seen them being built. They simply appeared. And with those towers, humanity's trial had begun. The towers stood in silence. 7 of them, one in each corner of the world. Nobody saw them arrive. Nobody saw them built. They were simply there, impossible, alien, unshakable. Each tower was the same. Smooth black stone. No windows. No doors. No seams. They rose hundreds of feet high, humming with a sound too deep for the human ear, but strong enough to rattle glass and make people's bones ache. Governments rushed to investigate. Scientists begged for samples, but the towers rejected all attempts. Drills broke against them. Lasers passed through them. Even nuclear explosives failed. The towers were untouchable, ghosts made solid. At first, the towers did nothing. They simply stood. But those who came too close began to feel strange. Soldiers guarding the site near Cairo reported dizziness and nightmares. One dreamed of burning stars. Another screamed about oceans of metal. A third walked calmly into the tower's shadow and collapsed, whispering words in a language no human knew. Doctors could not explain it. Psychologists were terrified. Something inside those towers was reaching into the human mind. And still, the black ship circled above, silent, watching. Across the world, panic grew. People fled the cities where towers stood. Markets crashed. Religions divided. Some believed the towers were holy gifts. Others claimed they were signs of doom. In America, protesters shouted to destroy them. In Asia, crowds gathered to pray before them. In Africa, entire villages fled into the desert. Yet the towers remained silent, waiting. Then, on the 7th day, something happened. In Kansas, near the American Tower, a boy named Daniel was playing outside, only 10 years old. Too curious, too fearless. Soldiers shouted at him to stay back, but Daniel kept walking. His parents screamed. His little feet carried him across the boundary line where no one dared step. He reached the base of the tower. He touched it, and then he vanished. No flash, no explosion. 1 second he was there. The next, he was gone. The world froze. Cameras caught it all. The video spread online in minutes. A child had walked into a tower, and the tower had swallowed him. For 3 days, there was no sign of him. His parents wept on television. Leaders demanded answers. Protesters filled the streets. Was the boy dead? Was he taken? What did the towers want? On the 4th day, he returned. In the dead of night, the boy reappeared where he had vanished, lying on the ground. But he was not the same. His eyes glowed faintly, like blue fire beneath his skin. His voice was calm, steady, too old for his young body. "They are watching," he said. "They want to know if you can survive." Doctors rushed him to hospitals. Scientists begged to study him. But the boy would not answer questions. He only spoke in fragments. "I saw other worlds," he whispered. "I saw creatures of fire. I saw war that never ends. They want to know if humans are strong, if we are worthy, if we can fight." The governments dismissed him as brainwashed, but ordinary people believed him. His words spread like fire. They want to know if you can survive. And then the towers changed. The humming grew louder. Lights appeared along their surfaces, pulsing like a heartbeat. Energy waves rippled across the land. In Africa, flocks of birds fell from the sky. In Europe, rivers froze without warning. In Asia, machines failed as if drained of power. The towers were reshaping the world. But that was only the beginning. On the 8th day, the alien voice returned. The same cold, mechanical voice that once said, "You are not ready." Now it spoke again. Trial 1 begins. The sky lit up. Across the world, invisible walls slammed down, cutting off vast areas. Cities, villages, entire regions vanished behind shimmering barriers, like glass domes no weapon could break. Inside those zones, the nightmare began. Portals ripped open in the sky. From them poured creatures humans had never seen. Some crawled like spiders made of steel. Others flew on wings of bone and fire. Some walked like giants, their eyes burning with hatred. The test had begun. Humanity was no longer just being watched. Humanity was being hunted. At first, armies tried to fight. Tanks rolled into the zones, firing shells. Jets screamed overhead. Soldiers poured in with guns blazing. But the barriers sealed behind them, trapping them inside. The world watched in horror as live streams from soldiers' cameras showed the battle. Bullets tore through monsters, but for every one that fell, 2 more appeared. The air filled with screams. And yet, something unexpected happened. Ordinary people began to fight back. In a small French town trapped inside the European zone, farmers turned tractors into weapons. In the deserts of Africa, villagers dug pits and filled them with fire, trapping alien beasts. In Japan, teenagers built homemade bombs from fuel cans and fireworks, ambushing creatures twice their size. Humanity was not giving up. Humanity was adapting. The Alien Council, watching from afar, whispered among themselves. No other race had resisted this test for long. No other species had turned survival into invention so quickly. On Earth, survivors gathered around fires, wounded and exhausted, but alive. They shared food. They shared weapons. They shared hope. For the first time in history, the divisions of nations, politics, and borders began to fade. Humanity was no longer fighting each other. Humanity was fighting together. But the voice returned once more, cold and merciless. Trial 1 continues. Millions will not survive. The boy with glowing eyes woke suddenly from his hospital bed. He stared into the night and whispered, "They are right. The test has only begun." The boy who vanished into the tower was no longer just a boy. Daniel had returned, but he was changed. His eyes glowed faintly in the dark, like embers hidden under ash. His voice was calm, too calm for a 10-year-old. When he spoke, doctors and soldiers alike leaned closer, unable to explain the strange power in his words. "They are watching," he repeated. "They want to know if you can survive." His parents clung to him, crying with relief, but their tears quickly turned to fear. He no longer acted like their son. He no longer laughed, no longer wept. He spoke slowly, carefully, as if carrying messages not his own. When asked what he had seen inside the tower, Daniel whispered of visions. "I saw skies that burn. I saw rivers of light. I saw creatures older than time. I saw wars that never end." The doctors assumed trauma, but the scientists knew better. The towers had shown him something, memories not of Earth, but of alien worlds. Governments tried to control the story, but it was too late. Every word the boy spoke spread online, translated into every language. The world listened to him. "They are not here to destroy you," Daniel said. "Not yet. They are here to test you, to see if you can rise higher than those before you." People asked him, "Who are they?" Daniel only shook his head. "They are many. They are old. Some fear you. Some want you. Some will kill you if they must." And then came the most chilling words of all. They did not choose Earth at random. They chose it because you are different. Humanity is not like the others. The boy could not explain why. He simply said that in the visions, he saw other races, alien empires, powerful and advanced. But none were like humanity. None had the same hunger, the same fire, the same stubborn will to fight against impossible odds. The Alien Council, hidden far above, debated furiously. Some demanded humanity's destruction before it could grow dangerous. Others whispered of the great enemy that consumed galaxies, a machine race that devoured stars and left only silence. Perhaps, they argued, humanity was the only weapon strong enough to resist. But on Earth, nobody knew this debate. All they knew was the trial zones had become killing grounds. In Africa, Survivors huddled in caves, hiding from steel-clawed beasts that stalked the night. In Europe, villagers fought side by side with whatever they could find: axes, torches, old rifles. In Asia, whole cities turned their skyscrapers into fortresses. Everywhere, people adapted. Every day, more humans survived. The aliens were shocked. For thousands of years, countless species had faced these trials. Most failed in days. Some lasted weeks. But humans? They were learning faster than any species ever tested. And still, the voice returned. Trial 1 continues. When the words echoed, Daniel suddenly collapsed. His body shook. His glowing eyes rolled back. Doctors rushed to his side. Then, in a whisper, he spoke. Millions will not survive. But those who remain will change forever. The world shivered. Governments met in secret. Could the boy be trusted? Was he a messenger or a weapon sent to confuse them? Some wanted to silence him. Others wanted to protect him. But no matter what they decided, the people listened. The boy's words had become prophecy. And then, something even stranger happened. In the ruins of Paris, a group of survivors claimed they saw a vision in the flames. A woman touched by the tower spoke in perfect harmony with Daniel's words, though she had never met him. In Brazil, a fisherman who survived near the Amazon tower claimed he dreamed the same visions: burning skies, oceans of metal, endless war. It was not just a boy. The towers were choosing others. The chosen ones could feel the future. They could see the truth. Humanity was not just being tested for strength. Humanity was being reshaped. By now, the Alien Council could no longer ignore what they were seeing. Messages flew between their fleets. Some envoys warned. They learned too fast. If they survive the trials, they will not stop. They will rise beyond control. Others answered, perhaps that is what the galaxy needs. A new force. A force that does not surrender. On Earth, the trials grew deadlier. New beasts poured through the portals. Larger, smarter, more ruthless. Yet so were the humans. Engineers scavenged alien remains and turned them into crude weapons. Hackers discovered ways to disrupt the portals with stolen signals. Hunters tracked the creatures like prey. The test was meant to break humanity. Instead, it was teaching them. But the boy knew the truth no one else could see. He stared out the hospital window at the glowing tower and whispered words only the cameras caught. This is not the end. This is only the beginning. The real test has not yet come. And far above, in the silent black ship that circled Earth, the unseen watchers gave their judgment. The first human had returned. The trials had begun, and the galaxy would never be the same. The sky burned red. At first, people thought it was a sunset, but the light spread too fast, painting the clouds with fire, turning rivers into mirrors of blood. Across the world, every trial zone began to glow. The towers pulsed like beating hearts, and the voice returned, calm and merciless. Trial 1 continues. Then the barriers sealed. Invisible walls rose higher, stretching into the stratosphere. Whole regions of the Earth were trapped inside. Soldiers outside slammed weapons against the barriers, but nothing passed through. Those within were cut off, no escape, no rescue. And inside, the nightmare began. Portals ripped open in the sky with the sound of tearing metal. From them poured beasts that no human mind had imagined. In Africa, creatures like steel lions roared across the desert, claws sparking as they tore through tanks. In Europe, winged monsters screamed above burning towns, swooping down to snatch soldiers like bird hunting mice. In Asia, towering giants walked on legs like trees, their eyes glowing with fire as they crushed buildings underfoot. The trial was not war. It was extermination. At first, the humans fought with weapons they had. Guns rattled. Rockets streaked through the sky. Jets dove into combat. Some monsters fell. Their bodies burned, their blood hissing like acid on the ground. But for every one destroyed, another poured through the portals. The world watched in horror. Cameras inside the zone streamed the battles live before signals were cut. Millions stared at their screens as soldiers screamed, as families fled, as cities burned. And then, something changed. The humans adapted. In France, a group of farmers trapped in a village refused to run. They filled wine bottles with fuel, tied rags to the necks, and hurled them at the winged beasts. Fire lit the night, and the monsters screamed as their wings burned. In Africa, hunters lured steel lions into the desert heat, chasing them into dry canyons. With nothing but rope and fire, they collapsed the canyon walls, burying the creatures alive. In Japan, engineers scavenged the remains of a fallen monster. They pulled out strange metal fragments, glowing with alien power, and turned them into a crude energy weapon. Hours later, the first alien cannon fired from human hands. And in America, survivors trapped in Kansas learned to work together. Police, civilians, even gangs put aside their differences. They built barricades from cars, dug trenches, and laid traps. When the monsters charged, they met walls of fire and explosions. The aliens had expected fear. They had expected surrender. Instead, they saw something else. Unity. For the first time in history, humans stopped fighting each other. Black and white, rich and poor, soldier and civilian, they stood side by side. Survival erased borders. Death erased politics. In the fire of the trial, humanity became one. The alien council, hidden among the stars, watched in silence. Some were horrified. They are not supposed to resist this well, one hissed. They are not supposed to learn so fast, another whispered. But others saw something more. They fight not because they are strong, one said. They fight because they cannot accept defeat. That is their strength. Back on Earth, the boy Daniel stirred in his hospital bed. His glowing eyes opened. He whispered, though no one else was near, "They are afraid of you." The days bled into nights, and the battles raged on. Humanity grew weaker in numbers, but stronger in spirit. Those who survived became harder, sharper, more cunning. In one European city, children too young to fight learned to use drones as scouts, guiding soldiers through ruined streets. In the jungles of Brazil, survivors wove nets of steel wire to trap flying beasts, bringing them crashing to the ground. In Siberia, villagers used frozen rivers as weapons, shattering the ice beneath alien giants and dragging them into the black water. Everywhere, humans turned weakness into strength. Everywhere, they adapted. And then, one zone did the impossible. In northern Africa, against all odds, an entire region survived the first wave. Exhausted, blooded, and broken, but alive. The survivors lit fires in the desert night, raising them high as beacons. Their signal was clear: we are still here. The alien council fell silent. Never before had a species lasted so long in the first trial. Never before had survivors answered with defiance instead of surrender. One envoy whispered what many feared to say aloud. They learned too fast. Back in the skies, the black ship continued to circle the earth. Its silent judgment weighed heavy. And then, as if to remind humanity of its place, the voice returned once more, echoing across every surviving zone. Trial 1 is not finished. The true challenge begins now. The ground shook. The towers glowed brighter. The portals widened. Something far worse was coming. Far above Earth, hidden in the shadows of the stars, the alien council gathered. Dozens of ships formed a vast ring around the silent black vessel that circled the planet. Each ship belonged to a different race. Some insect-like, some scaled, some tall and thin like living shadows. Their languages were strange, their shapes alien, but their voices carried the same emotion. Fear. For weeks they had watched the trials. For weeks they had seen humanity suffer. And yet, against every prediction, the humans did not fall. They adapted. They survived. They fought back. The council chamber glowed with shifting light as the debate began. They are dangerous, hissed a serpent-like envoy, its body coiled with silver scales. End the test. Burn the planet. If they rise, none of us will be safe. Across the chamber, a towering insect clicked its mandibles. No, they are useful. The machines spread further each year. We lose colonies, fleets, worlds. Perhaps these humans are the weapon we need. A third envoy, thin as smoke, spoke in a whisper. They learn too quickly. Do you not see? Give them 1 century, and they will not be your weapon. They will be your masters. The chamber erupted in argument. Voices layered over voices, shouts of rage, cries of warning. Some demanded Earth's destruction. Others demanded the test continue. At last, silence fell as a high arbiter entered. Tall and radiant, Cloaked in shimmering light, the arbiter raised a hand. You speak of fear, you speak of hope, but you forget the truth. The trials are older than all of us. The humans must be tested, as others were tested before. The rules cannot be broken. The council bowed in uneasy silence, but still the whispers continued. On Earth, the battles raged on. Survivors grew stronger. Weapons grew sharper. Unity spread. Yet strange things began to happen. A pilot in Japan claimed he saw a starship land in secret, its hull cloaked in shadow. A group of survivors in Brazil spoke of meeting a tall alien figure who gave them food and medicine before vanishing. And in the deserts of Africa, an injured warrior woke to find strange symbols carved into his skin, glowing faintly like fireflies. The rumors spread. Not all aliens wanted humanity to fail. Some were helping in secret. In Washington, the president received a message that froze her blood. It came from no human channel. The voice was alien, but the words were clear. They will vote to destroy you. You must prepare. In Moscow, generals reviewed the same warning. In Beijing, leaders stayed awake through the night, discussing a single terrifying question. If the galaxy decide to kill humanity, can Earth fight back? The answer was clear. Not yet. And still, the boy Daniel whispered from his hospital bed. They argue above us. Some want us dead. Some want us alive. But none understand. Humanity will not bow. Humanity will not break. His eyes glowed brighter each night. He spoke in voices not his own, carrying echoes of the alien council. Doctors were afraid to touch him. Priests knelt beside him. Soldiers guarded his room, uncertain whether they protected him or the world from him. Back in the council chamber, the debate reached its peak. They spread too quickly, growled the serpent envoy. Their kind will not stop with Earth. Already they reverse our weapons. Already they steal our power. Good, snapped the insect envoy. Would you rather they die and the machines consume us all? You know the truth. No empire here can stop the machines. Our fleets are dust before them. But these humans, they might stand. Their defiance will not save them, whispered the shadow envoy. It will doom us all. Do you not see their nature? They fight not just to live. They fight to win. That is why they are dangerous. The chamber grew dark. The High Arbiter spoke again. The vote is near. Decide carefully. For once a path is chosen, there is no return. On Earth, the signs of betrayal grew. An alien drone was captured in the ruins of Paris. Unlike the beasts, this machine carried messages. Broken, half-corrupted, its final words were decrypted by human scientists. They will not allow you to finish the trials. They will erase your world before you rise. The news spread like wildfire. Panic erupted, but panic soon turned into rage. For centuries, humans had fought against the impossible. Empires had risen and fallen. Wars had scarred the earth, but always humanity endured. Now, faced with the greatest threat of all, they began to prepare, not to beg, not to surrender, but to fight. Hackers united across borders, digging into alien signals. Scientists raced to understand the stolen technology. Soldiers trained beside civilians, teaching them to fight, to build, to survive. The people of Earth were no longer asking if they would survive. They were preparing for war. And far above, the alien council watched with growing unease. The vote was coming. Would humanity be destroyed before the trials were complete? Or would the galaxy allow them to continue? In the silent dark of space, one truth became clear. The aliens were no longer deciding if humans could survive. They were deciding if humans should be allowed to exist at all.